Percentage of a set. Well, for such questions, I take note of the word of because of tells me what the denominator is, and it's always the number on the right of it. So in this case, 0.2 km is the denominator, and that's what I will write. 25 meters out of 0.2 km, change it to meters, that will be 200. And because we want a percentage, we want the denominator to be 100, hence divided by 2, top and bottom. We get 12.5 over 100, and that's 12.5%. 300 grams as a percentage of 1 kg. So of tells me 1 kg is the denominator. So 300 over 1 kilograms. Never ever think that, the larger number has to always be at the bottom. No, look at the word of. Yeah. So convert this to grams, that's 1,000. And because with percentage, we want 100 below, we're going to divide by 10 and 10, and that gives us 30%. Express 10 cents as a percentage of $10. So $10 is the denominator. Convert $10 to cents, that's 10 times 100 cents. So that's going to be simplified by 10 here, and that's 1 over 100, which is conveniently 1%. Here the sentence structure is slightly different, but the rule is still the same. Of points to the denominator. So 2 kg is the denominator, 400 grams is the numerator. So convert this to grams, divide by 20 to obtain 100, and this is easily written as 20%. Express 57 cm as a percentage of 3 meters. So we know 3 meters is the denominator. So here we go, 3 meters. In centimeters, that's 300. To obtain 100 at the bottom, we're going to divide by 3, top and bottom, and that's 19%. $2 as a percentage of 40 cents. So don't be thinking, the larger number has to be at the bottom. Nope. Okay, in this case, of is pointing the denominator of 40 cents. So let's have $2 on top and 40 cents below. Convert this to cents, that's 200. We're going to divide by 4 to obtain 10 below. And from 10, we can multiply by 10 to get 100, and that is 50%. 500%. And the level 2, what percentage of 5 kilometers? So 5 km is the denominator, 20 meters and 50 cm will be the numerator. So let's work with meters. Meters, shall we? So 20 meters, that's 20. 50 cm, that's half a meter. So that's 0.5. Okay, 5 km is 5,000 meters. So from here, we are working with the same units, and that's good. So I'm going to divide by 10, giving me 500. And then I'll divide by 5 to give me 100 for the denominator. And from here, it is just 0.41%. Express 245 as a percentage of 1,000. So 1,000 is the denominator. 245 over 1,000. Let's divide by 10 to obtain 100 below. And the answer, therefore, is 24.5%. Question 9, express 12 seconds as a percentage of 2 minutes. So 2 minutes is the denominator here. And convert that to seconds. We're going to multiply by 60. So from here, we can simplify 12 and 60, 1 and 5. So basically, that's 2 times 5, that's 10 below. And from here, times 10, we get 10 over 100, which is 10%. What percentage of 3.2 meters is 6 meters? So of here points to a denominator of 3.2. So 6 meters above, 3.2 below. Both are in meters, that's great, but how about we get rid of this decimal point? I'm going to multiply that by 10. So that gives me 60 over 32. So now we can divide both by 4 to get 15 over 8. That is an improper fraction. Let's turn it to a mixed number. And with the denominator of 8, we can multiply 1 to 5 to get it to 1 and 875 over 1,000. From here, let's divide. I changed it to an improper fraction followed by dividing by 10 top and bottom to obtain 100 for the denominator. Why? It's easy to express that as a percentage. And in this case, it's 187.5%. What is 45% of $220? Now, in this case, of is not pointing to the denominator. It is what percentage of 220? This is multiplication. All right, just like what 3 groups of 2? That's 3 times 2. 45% of 220, that's 45 over 100 times 220. Exactly that is what we'll do. 45 over 100 times 220. I can remove 10 and 10 diagonally. Basically leaving me with 45 times 22, which is 990. Remove 0, top and bottom, that's $99. What is 25% of 360? So simply change it to a fraction. So we know that 25% is 1/4. of, as in multiply, in this case, multiply by 360, that's basically dividing by 4. So 360 divided by 4 is $90. What is 80% of 20? 80% can be written as 80 over 100 or 8 over 10. In this case, 20 and 100 can be simplified, 1 and 5. Basically, 80 divided by 5 gets us 16. What is 15% of 170? So 15% is 15 over 170. So let's simplify diagonally, cancel 1 0 each. Basically, 15 times 17 is what we can do with our normal vertical multiplication. You get us 255 over 10. Over 10, just move the decimal point one step to the left, that's 25.5. What is 35% of $600? So 35%, that's 35 over 100. 600 here, with 2 zeros, we can simplify diagonally, and that means we can just take 35 times 6, which is 210. Find the value of 35% of 50. 35% can be written as 35 over 100, of as in times 50. So with this, I can simplify 50 and 100 to be 1 and 2. Basically, 35 divided by 2 is $17.50. Now, in this case, we don't need the dollar sign. It's just $17.50. Find 1/5% of 200. Now, this looks funky because it's a fraction, but really it's not that bad. 1 over 5 can be written as 0.2%. Right? 1 over 5%, 0.2%. Leave the percentage sign alone. Work only with the number in front. In this case, it's 1/5, which is 2 over 10, which is 0.2. Now, from here, 0.2% can be written as 0.2 out of 100. See how the percentage sign disappears, right? And gets turned into out of 100. From here, the double zeros can be cancelled off. Basically, 0.2 times 2 is what we do, which is 0.4. Question 18 is the same thing. We have a fraction and then a percentage, right? So work with the fraction first. So what we can do, 0.1/2 is basically 5 over 10, which is 0.5. Now with 0.5%, we can write this percentage as out of 100. Cancel the 2 zeros, basically 0.5 times 7, which is 3.5. Jessie had 250 oranges. She gave 130 of them to a charity. What fraction? So your final answer should be a fraction of her oranges. The word of means total oranges will be the denominator. Given to charity will be the numerator. So numerator to charity, that's 130. Total will be 250 as the denominator. Since we want a fraction, let's simplify this. Cancel 1 0, cancel 1 0, and we get 13 over 25. Part B, what percentage of her oranges, again, the total will be the denominator, did she have left? So we have to do a bit of subtraction to obtain what's left. Beginning with 250, 130 to charity basically means 120 left. 120 left out of 250, we can simplify, cancel, we get 12 over 25. With 25 as the denominator, we just multiply by 4 to get 100, and that's 48%. Jeremy had $150. He gave $30 to his sister. What percentage of his money, so of tells me the total money will be the denominator, did he have left? So let's calculate what's left, shall we? Started with 150, gave 30 to the sister, left with 120. The denominator will be what he had first. From here, let's simplify, cancel 1 0, 1 0. Divided by 3, we get 4 over 5. And from here, we get it to 80%. For this question type, we are told a percentage of a mysterious number, and then we are told to find the number itself. So in this case, we have 120% being 114. Think of this as units, right? Think of this as 120 units. Of course, you can find 1 unit. You can divide 114 by 120, fine. But I choose to make my life a bit simpler. I'm going to go from 120 to 20. Right? The end target is 100% of the number, which is the number itself. Okay, so to go from 120 to 20, I need to divide it by 6. So do the same on the right side, you get 19. Then from here, 20% to 100%, just multiply by 5. So that's what I'll do. 19 times 5, that gives me 95. And that is 100% of the number, which is the number itself, 95. 25% of a mysterious number is 44. What is the number? So let's form an equation. 25% is 44. The number itself, just multiply by 4, 176. 30% of a certain number is 60. What is that certain number? So form an equation. 30% is 60. 10% we'll just divide by 3, that's 20. Then 100% of the number, just times 10, you get 200. 70% of a number is 210. Let's form an equation. 70% of a mysterious number is 210. 10%, we'll just divide by 7, that's 30. And from here, the number itself is 300. 30% of a number is 270. What is the number? So 30% is 270, form an equation. 10%, just divide by 3, that's 90. Next, 100% of the number, just times 10, you get 900. 150% of a number is 720. What is the number? So form an equation. 150% is 720. Divide by 10, you get 15%. Divide by 3, you get 24. Then times 20%, times 20, and then you will get 480. So here we're just finding simple percentage of a number. So in this case, 35% can be written as 35 over 100. Simplify it, cancel 10 and 10. 35 times 22 is 770. Cancel out the 0 and you get $77. What is 20% of $2? So 20% can be written as 20 over 100. So multiply the numerator by 2, that's 40. And that is basically 40 cents. What is the value of 20% of 160 kilometers? So 20% can be written as 20 over 100. Multiply in this case of, right, that's 160 here, and then we can simply convert this to 1/5, and that means 160 divided by 5. 160 can be split into 150 and 10, and these two are great easy multiples to divide by 5 with, so that's 32. What is 16% of 650? 16 over 100 times 650. So simplify this, you get 16 over 65, which is 1040, and then just cancel out that 0, you will get $104. And we're back to this question type where off points to the denominator. So we have 10 cents as the numerator, $2 as the denominator. Express this in terms of cents, divided by 2 to get 100 below, and this is a convenient 5%. 36 minutes as a percentage of 2 hours. So we know 2 hours will be the denominator. 36 minutes above, convert both to minutes, divide by 6 top and bottom, we get 6 over 20. So multiply this by 5, you get 100. And on top will be 30, so it's 30%. Express 40 cents as a percentage of $1.60. So off points to the denominator here, so that's 40 cents on top, 160 below. Convert both to cents. Divide by 40, you get 1/4, and if you're familiar enough, that is instantly 25%. What percentage of 25 km is 500 meters? So here, this is the denominator, 25 km. So 50 meters above, 25 below. Convert both to meters, that's 500 over 25,000. Cancel 2 zeros, top and bottom, that's 5 over 250. 5 over 250, if you divide both by 5, you will get 1 over 50, which basically means times 2 times 2. 2%. Express 29 minutes as a percentage of 2 hours, correct to 2 dp. So we know for sure that 2 hours is the denominator, and since we want a percentage, we will multiply by 100. Now that gives me 2900 over 120. If you cut off 10 top and bottom, that's 290 over 12. Well, with that, I can work with I can use long division, 290 divided by 12. And basically what happens is, if I want my final answer to be 2 dp, I will do my long division till I obtain 3 dp. Why? So that I can decide whether I need to round up or not. In this case, I have to. So it's 24.17%. Express 16 cm as a percentage of 200 cm. So this is easy, 16 over 200. Divide by 2, both sides, that's 8 over 100, that's 8%. Here we had the word of pointing to 3 liters being the denominator, so 250 over 3 liters, convert both to ml, that's 3000 below. Now divide by 3, you will obtain 100 for the denominator, which is awesome, right? So all we need to focus on is 25 divided by 3. And using long division, I realized that, oh, okay, that is a remainder. Basically, the quotient is 8, the remainder is 1. So 8 and 1/3 is the numerator. And if I want to express this as a fraction, as a percentage, just take whatever the numerator is. And that's out of 100, it's 8 and 1/3%. 48 cm as a percentage of 1.2 meters. So this is the denominator, 48 out of 1.2. Convert both to centimeters, that's 120 here. Divide by 6, you will get 20 for the denominator. And then after that, times 5 to get 100 for the denominator. And what's 8 times 5? That's 40. So it's 40%. Darnell had $400. Evita had 34% of what Darnell had. 34% off. Now, in this case, it's multiplication. So how much money did Evita have? So Evita had 34% of whatever Darnell had. So basically 34% of $400. Yeah, and that is 34 over 100 times 400. We can cancel the two zeros. That's basically 34 times 4. What's 30 times 4? 120. What's 4 times 4? 16. So that's $136. In a class of 40 students, 30% failed. Now, when they tell you 30% failed, well, there are only two outcomes, right? Failures and passes. So 30% failed basically tells you 70% passed. And that's the first thing I wrote, yeah? How many students actually passed the science test? So what's 70% of the total class membership? That's 70% of 40. So 70% of 40 means I can simplify this to 7 over 10, which means I can cut that 0 diagonally, simplify it. 7 times 4 is 28 actual students. A school has a student population of 1,700. How many of the students are boys if 42% of the population are girls? Well, God bless me, there are only two genders, so 42% are girls, right? Basically tells me 100% minus 42, that's 58% boys. All right, so we want the actual number of boys, so that's 58% of the total population of students, yeah? So 58% of that 1700, we can cancel two zeros diagonally, which basically leave us with 58 times 17. That's 986. At an exhibition, 40% were adults, the rest were children. Well, 40% adults basically means 60% children. All right, so 1722 visited the exhibition. Well, we can definitely form an equation being 60% children and 60% is 1722. So 60% is 1722. Let's find 1%, shall we? Let's divide by 6. So 1722 divided by 6 is simply can be broken up into 1200. That's a nice big fat multiple of 6. After that, we will have 5. Okay, 5. Basically, we will have 522. 522 can be written as 480 and 42. Again, very nice multiples of 6. So we can just divide this, becomes 287. Alright, so next up, how many visitors were there at the exhibition altogether? So we want 100% of the population. So from 10%, we'll just times 10. And from here, we'll just times 10 as well, which means add one more zero and we get 2870. In the garden, 30% are lilies, 25% are orchids, and the rest are hibiscus. So the total has to be 100%. We can make use of this information and say, all right, so lily 30%, orchids 25%, 100% minus these two will give us 45%, and that will be hibiscus's percentage. If there are 90 more actual hibiscus than lilies, so we are going to look at H versus L. So there are more hibiscus, in fact 15% more. Okay, so let's do that. 45 minus 30, that's 15%. And this 15% will represent 90 actual flowers. And from here we can divide by 3 to get to 5. Divide by 3, we get to 30. Now the total flowers will be 100%. So let's times 20 here. And do the same on the right side, 30 times 20, that's 600 flowers in total. Ahmad receives $200 from his mother as his weekly allowance, so that's every week. He spends this amount on food, this amount on transport, and saves the rest. So only 3 things that he does with his money, yeah? So what percentage of his weekly allowance? Well, we know for sure the denominator is 200, all right? And we want the number that he saved and as a percentage. So let's find the actual amount that he saved. So that would be the 200 that he started out with, minus on food and transport, that leaves us is 105. And from here, what was saved is 105, and the total was 200. We'll just divide by 2 to obtain 100 below, and that's 52.5%. Janice spent 40% of her salary, gave half of it to her parents. Now, this is not half the remainder, yeah? It's half of the total salary. Isn't that 50%? Okay, and saved the rest. All right, so the first thing we can do is to say, all right, let's make everything clear, 40%. Parents, half of it, that's 50%. So what percentage did she have left? Basically, she's left with 10%. And that 10% was basically representing 365 actual dollars. So what was Janice's salary? So from here, we can say 10% is 365. And from here, 100%, we'll just times 10. And the salary is therefore $3650. There are 105 members in an art club. So in total, this is the membership. 60% are girls. So, well, naturally 40% are boys. So what are 40%? What is basically 40% times 105. That is 4 over 10 times 105, and therefore you can work with 420 divided by 10. So just cancel out the zeros and you get 42 actual boys. There were 875 members in a community club, that's in total. 350 were female. Well, we can find the males easily. Let's find 875 minus 350, that's 525 actual males. What percentage of the total? So the denominator will be 875. Male, so 525 will be the numerator. From here, I split 525 into 525. 875, I split it into 500, 350, and 25. Why? So if I divide by 5, I get a nice 105. I get a nice 175. From here, I can divide by 5 again. That's 21 over 35. And then divide by 7, I'll get 3/5, which basically is 60%. Lucy saved 40% of her bonus and spent the rest. Well, basically spent 60%. She paid 360, that's coming out of her spending, and 120, that's coming out of her spending. So what we can do is to say, all right, so 40% saved and spent the rest, 60%, as shown here in this diagram. From here, the spending is split into 360 actual dollars here and 120 actual dollars here, which means we can form an equation that 60% of the salary basically is equal to these two, right? And that we can do. So 60% is basically 360 plus 120, that's $480. If we divide by 6, we'll get 10% being $80. How much did Lucy save? So we're interested in 40%. So we're going to just times 4. And 80 times 4 is $320. 520 girls, 560 boys took part. What percentage of the participants? So, okay, the participants will be the sum total. That's 240 plus 560. That's 800. Boys on the numerator. So let's cancel 10 and we get 56 over 80. If you divide that by 8, we will get 7 over 10, basically, which is 70%. Mandy, Nancy, and Oscar, so MNO, 1U, 5U, 2U. What percentage of the candies? Well, all the total candies will be 8 units here, isn't it? Right, so the denominator is definitely 8, and Nancy is 5 units, so we're going to have 5 over 8. With 8 as at the bottom, we can just multiply by 125 to get to 1,000, nicely, and do the same up there. Then after that, divide by 10 to get 62.5. And since the denominator is 100, the answer is 62.5%. In a factory, 20% are single, the rest are married. So 80% of the total are married. There are 33 more married workers than single workers. Oh, okay, we can work with that. So if 20% are single, 80% are married, the difference there between is 60%. And the difference is 33. Well, we can form an equation. 60% is therefore 33 actual workers. Divide that by 3, you will get 20% being 11. So those who are married, basically, we are talking about 80%, yeah? So from here to 80, that's basically multiplied by 4. So 11 times 4 is 44. There are 500 P5 pupils in Rosyth. 22% of them, well, we can find the actual number of students here who go to school by car. 58% of this 500 go to school by bus. Again, we can find the actual number there. The rest walk to school. How many walk to school? Oh, we don't have to find the numbers. We're only interested in the walkers. Okay, so now 22% here, 58%. Let's make everything clear. The actual percentage terms, right, is 20%. 100 minus these two. All right, so 20% walk to school. The actual number of students is simply 20% of that 500. Which basically is 2 over 100 times 500. Cancel the 2 zeros, that's 100 actual students. Kim and Kathy received some money. Kim had 55% of the money they received. Well, that tells me Kathy had 45%, right? After spending 40% of her share, Kathy's share, Kathy had $54 left. Well, what we can do is to say, all right, Kathy had 45% of the total money that was received. Now, if 40% was spent, 60% was left, right? So in terms of percentage, what does that mean? What is 60% of that 45%, right? What is 60% of this 45%? So 6 over 10 times 4 over 5, 45 over 100, T stands for total. So that's basically 3/5. And what's nice about this, we can simplify diagonally. So basically that's 27% of the total that was left, yeah? Now, since we are told 27% of the total represents 54 actual dollars, we can find 1%, just divide by 27, that's $2. How much did Kim receive? Kim received 55%, and this is why it's good to make everything clear, yeah? You can see clearly. right? Obviously, you can read here as well, right? 55%. So just take 55 times 2. Okay, that's $110. Ahmad receives $200 from his mother as his weekly allowance. He spends $70 on food, $25 on transport, saves the rest. Well, we can find out exactly how much he saves, yeah? So 70, 25, 200 minus those two gives us 105 actual dollars saved. What percentage of his weekly allowance? Well, we know 200 is the denominator then. Saved is 105, just divide by 2 and you get 52.5%. A cap and a bag cost $80. The cost of the cap is 60% of the cost of the bag. Now, this is what I call the left-right arrows. So think of 60% as 60 over 100. The cap is 60% of the bag. So I like to think of this as the numerator is 60 units and the bag is 100 units. Yeah. So in total, that's 160 units, is it not? And the total cost is $80, we are told. So from here, we're going to divide by 8, both sides. That's 20 units being $10. Okay, how much does the cap cost? Well, the cap costs 60 units. So cost of the cap is therefore 60 units. So from here, we're going to multiply by 3. Same thing here, that's $30. Grace has 50 highlighters, of which 17 were green, 11 were blue, the rest were red. So we can find the actual number of red pens. Let's make everything clear. 17 here, 11 here, 22 for reds. What percentage of the highlighters? So the denominator is definitely 50. Red, we just found it, that's 22. So from here, let's get to 100. So times 2 times 2, that's 44%. Mrs. Tan's monthly salary was this. She spent this on clothing and half of the remainder. Whoa, so we can draw a branch method diagram. So it starts with 1200, 480, a real number, on clothing. Well, we can definitely find what this is, right? That's 120 minus 480. So that's 720 here. Half of this spent on food. Okay, we can find out that's 360 actual dollars. So what percentage of the salary was spent on food? So that's 360 out of a total of 1200. Then from here, divide by 60, you will get 6 over 20. And times 5, you get 30%. Janice spent 40% of her salary, gave half of it to her parents, and saved the rest. She saved this amount. Okay, so what we know for sure is we can make everything clear, 40%. Now, half of it, it's not half of the remainder, it's half of the total. And isn't half 50%? Yeah. From here, we can find out the percentage that was saved. And this represents 365 actual dollars. Since we want her salary, we will multiply that by 10 to get 100%. That is $3650. Sam had $150 and used $60 to buy a pair of pants. What percentage had he left? Well, we know for sure that what he had left can be found. That's $90. So of his money, so we know the denominator is 150. Okay, and what's left is $90. So simplify by dividing by 10, you get 9 over 15. Divide by 3, you get 3/5. Times 20 times 20, you get 60%. There are 40 pupils in a science enrichment class. 30% are girls, which automatically means 70% are boys. How many actual boys is that? In other words, we're interested in 70% of 40. So 70% of 40, simply 70 over 100 times 40. That's 7 over 10 times 40. Basically, that means 7 times 4. That's 28. Thelma has $120. This is 20% of the amount of money that Lily has. This is 20% of L. Okay, so we can form an equation with that, right? So this is 20%. Oh, another way of doing this is the left-right arrows. 20% of what Lily has. So Thelma has 20 units. Lee has 100 units. So basically, Thelma has 20 units as 120. And 100U is therefore $600. An alternative is to say that 20% of L is 120. What is L? That is 100% of L. So simply multiply that by 5. I prefer this one. The ratio of pens B has to the number of pens J has is 1:4. Well, we can form this little expression here. B is to J, 1:4. What percentage of the total does Jeremy have? So the total therefore is not 1 and 4, it's 5. Yeah, the total is 5. Does Jeremy have? That's 4 above, and therefore we can just multiply by 20 top and bottom. That's 80%. In the box of marbles, 40% were red, the rest were green, so 60% of the total. 84 more greens than reds. Well, we can make everything clear. 40% red, 60% green. The difference is 20%, and we are told the difference is 84 actual marbles. So what's the total? We're interested in 100%, so we'll just multiply by 5 from here and get 420. Tessa had $40. She spent 60% on a book, 10% on some snacks. How much had she left? Okay, so we can make everything clear. 60% on a book, 10% on some snacks. Take 100% minus these two, you have 30% left. How much money had she left? Well, that's 30% of the $40 she started out with, right? So basically that's 3 tens times 40. Cancel that 1 0, basically 3 times 4, that's 12 actual dollars. So we got percentage of the remainder here. Patrick spent 25% of savings on a bag, 40% of the remainder. Well, this is from branch method A. So 25% on the bag, now that means 75% remaining. Now of this remainder, 40% spent on shorts, which means the other branch will be 60%. So every branch has to come together to form one whole, yeah, 100%. He was left with 135 actual dollars. So in other words, 60% here. Oh, we can find the percentage of the total that's left. Okay, so just like branch A, we'll find the fraction of total. In this case, what do you have left? It's 60% times 75%, which is 60 over 100 times 75 over 100. Okay, which gives us 9 over 20. So 9 over 20, therefore, of the total is 135. Well, the total is 20 over 20. So go from here, 1 unit to 20 units, and you get $300. Shah spends 40% of his money on a book and 5% of the remainder. Well, this is one of those questions using the branch method on a pen. What percentage had he left? Okay, we're not even given the real number. That's fine. 40% on the book, the remainder is for 60%. 5% of this remainder was spent on a pen. So in other words, this branch is 95%. So what percentage had he left? Look at this. We are going to connect 95% and multiply with 60%. Go all the way to the total. All right. So in this case, 95 over 100 times 60%, 60 over 100. Well, simplify this, divide by 5. Okay, you get 19 over 20. And simplify this. All right, divide by 20. And look at this. Look at the denominator. 20 times 5 is a nice 100, isn't it? Which means I can just write 57% for the final answer. Sarah went shopping with $300. She spent 35% of her money, of this $300, on a skirt and 30% of the remainder on a bag. So this tells me it's a branch method question again. So except we can start with 300 actual dollars at the beginning. 35% on a skirt, which means the other branch is 65%. Of this remainder, 30% on a bag, which means the other part is 70%. How much did he spend on the bag? So we're not interested in this, we're interested in this. So in terms of percentage, it will be 30% of 65% of $300, right? So let's take a look here. On the bag, percentage first, 30% of 65%. So we can find out that it's 30 over 100 times 65 over 100. Simplify this, you get 39 over 200, which is 19.5 out of 100. So in this case, I'll take 19.5% of 300 actual dollars. Yeah, so 19.5% will just cancel out the 2 zeros. Basically 19.5 times 3. So what's 10 times 3? That's 30. What's 9 times 3? That's 27. What's 0.5 times 3? That's $1.50. In other words, it's $58.50. Ali gave 30% of his savings to his sister. She spent, she as in the sister, spent 60% of the money. Whoa. The 60% here is from that 30% of Ali's money. So this is a branch method question. So let's be very careful with our diagram. Ali's savings, 30% of that went to the sister. And from here, 60% was spent on the storybook. All right, so with this branch being 60, the other branch is 40%. Okay, what percentage of Ali's savings had she spent? So what she spent here versus Ali's savings, you're going to take 60% times 30%. And that's what we'll do, 6 over 10 times 3 over 10. That's 18 over 100, that's 18% of Ali's savings. In the toy shop, 46% are stuffed toys. Okay, 5 over 9 of the remainder. Well, this is definitely branch A, isn't it? So let's carry on. 46% are stuffed toys. That tells us 54% is the remainder. From here, 5/9 are toy trains. The rest are toy cars. 5 over 9, 4 over 9 here. There are 280 stuffed toys and toy cars. Stuffed toys and toy cars. Wow. Okay, this we know is definitely 40 toy cars. What's the percentage of toy cars? right? That's 4 over 9 times 60, 54%. Okay, 4 over 9 times 54%. That's what we'll do. It turns out it's 24%. Okay, so 280 stuffed toys and toy cars, that's 24% plus 46%, which is 70%. So 70% of the total is 280, 1% is 4. How many toy cars are there in the shop? Toy cars, we just found out it's 24%, is it not? Okay, so that would be 24%, that's 96 over here. Mrs. Lee had $210. She spent 40% of her money on a dress. She then spent 20% of the remainder. So branch A, here we go. Starting with 210 actual dollars, 40% on the dress, which means 60% left. Then from this remainder, 20% on the scarf, which means 80% left. How much did she spend on the scarf? Well, if you want to find the percentage, that's 20% times 60%. But if you want to find the actual dollars, just multiply by 210. Okay. So in percentage terms, what was spent on the scarf? That's 20% of the total of 60%. 20% of 60% of the total, right? So 2 over 10 times 6 over 10, that's 12 over 10. 12 over 100, which means 12% of the total. So what's 12% of the total of 210? That's 12 over 10 times 21. That's 252 over 10. That's $25.20. 60% of a class were boys, 40% were girls. Okay, so all the boys and 25% of the girls. Oh, this is a branch method question. So let's see, class, right? One whole, 100%. So 60% boys, they all like to play soccer. All right, so 40% were girls. From this 40%, okay, of the total of the class, 25% of the girls, they like soccer. All right, so what percentage like soccer? Well, for sure that's 60% of the total, the boys. The girls is only 1/4 of the 40% of the total. So that's 25% times 40%. So basically that is 1/4 times 2/5, which basically means 1 over 10. And 1 over 10 we know very well is 10%. So together that is 70% who like soccer. Mr. Tan had 80 stamps. He gave 20% of those stamps to his son and 25% of the remaining stamps. Well, this is definitely a branch method question. So 80 started out with 80. He gave 20% to his son. That's the remainder of 80%. Then from this remainder, 25% went to the daughter, which basically means 75% of the remainder is left. All right, so what percentage of his stamps were left? My goodness, they are not interested in the actual number of stamps. They're just interested in the percentage left. Well, from here, we'll just take 75% times 80%. It's as simple as that. So that's basically 75% is 3/4. 8 over 10, 80%, 8 over 10, basically 4 over 5, right? And from here, we get 12 over 20. Multiplied by 5, we get 60%. In a stadium, 60% of the 2,000 are adults. Well, basically, non-adults will be 40% of the 2,000, yeah? 80% of remainder are boys. Well, we can draw this 2,000 at the beginning. 60% adults, 40% children. So from the children, 80% are boys. How many girls are there? Oh, we want the actual number of girls. Okay, so what we can do is to just straight away take 20% times 40% times 2,000. Okay, so 20% is 2 over 10, 40% is 4 over 10. That's basically 8 over 100. So from here, cancel 2 zeros, is basically 8 times 20. That is 160 actual girls. Debbie spends 40% on a pair of shoes and 1/6 of the remainder. Well, we can definitely come up with the diagram here for 100% at first. 40% on shoes, 60% remainder. 1/6 on a drink, 5 over 6 left. This, we are told, is 30 actual dollars. Well, we can say 5 over 6 of the remainder is 30. 6 over 6, which basically is these two branches. 6 over 6 is $36, which means I can write $36 here. Yeah, and that means 60% of the total is $36. Divide by 6, we get 10%. Divide times 4, we get 40% because we want a pair of shoes, which is 40% of the total. So 6 times 4 is therefore $24. 2% of the pupils were absent. Of those present, whoa, that means 98% present, yeah? 57 passed the test. Well, it doesn't look like it. There's no of the remaining, but there is, okay? So this is a branch method question. So 2% absent basically indirectly means 98% present. From those present, 5 over 7 passed, 2 over 7 failed. What percentage, what our final answer has to be a percentage, failed the test? So basically it's 2 over 7 times 98%. right? And what's cool about 98 is a multiple of 7, so you can simplify it, and basically that is 28%. And congrats, this is the end of level 1 questions for percentage of a set. I hope to see you in the next video for level 2s. Have a great day.